Hello, beautiful people. It's Trina, and welcome back to my channel. I am a frag hag and scent gourmand, and I like to talk about these things on my channel, so welcome. According to legend, in 1380, the father prior of the Carthusian monastery of St. James was caught by surprise with the news that Queen Giovanna d'Angio would be soon arriving to Capri, so he picked a bouquet of the most beautiful flowers on the island to present to her. Sadly, the queen ditched her plans due to bad weather, but the flowers were left sitting for a few days in the same water. When the monk finally went to throw them out, he noticed that it had acquired a mysterious fragrance. He asked a friar versed in alchemy about it, and the friar traced the origin of the scent to the Garophilium sylvestre caprese. That water was the first perfume of Capri. Every good product comes with a half-decent origin story, it would seem. But in truth, old formulas of the perfumes were discovered in 1948, and a chemist from Turin created a perfume lab on the island with permission from the Pope and dubbed it Carthusia, or Carthusia, not sure how to pronounce that. I think it's Carthusia. The perfume laboratory is apparently the smallest in the world. Cool beans. So I've happily procured 4 large bottles of fragrance from the Italian house of Carthusia. This is not a brand with which I'm unfamiliar. A few years back, I purchased a small and relatively expensive bottle of Carthusia Uomo, which means or man, and I wore it and enjoyed it immensely all the same. I found it in an obscure little boutique in the fashionable streets of Kichijoji, which is a trendy neighborhood outside Tokyo. I actually ended up living close to that neighborhood some years later. Good times. Well, now I have 8 times the volume of that soft and sexy Carthusia fragrance that I had back then, and I probably paid about half the amount I paid for that wee bottle, all due to the joy that is online secondhand shopping. Woohoo! These 4 fragrances were all blind buys for me, and I knew going into it that these would be freshie type scents for warmer weather, and it's not quite yet warm at the moment, though it is warming up. Anyway, these are definitely some scents I'll be adorning myself more with in just a few weeks' time. I should probably have waited to share them with you a bit longer. There's so many fragrances more appropriate for the current season, but I'm excited about these because I just got them and wanted to share. These are all light EDT concentrations for your information, and they come in 50 ml or 100 ml bottles like these that retail for about 60 or 80 euros. And the house also sells 50 ml eau de parfum concentrations for many of its fragrances. So let me talk about these warm weather fragrances in order of launch date because, well, why not? So first we have Io Capri, an aromatic unisex fragrance launched in 2000 by Laura Bossetti Tonato, who's done a few fragrances for Carthusia and also has her own line of fragrances, which I'll link to below. The notes are and here's how it's marketed on the Carthusia website. Dedicated to the goddess in whose honor Emperor Tiberius built one of the most important imperial villas in Capri, Io is a dynamic and decisive mélange, both sophisticated and modern, that combines the sweet tones of fig tree with the cheerful, stimulating ones of tea leaves. Okay, so this one is very unique to my nose and difficult to describe. It does smell of freshly cut grass, chamomile flowers, lemons, and the ocean. But what adds a freaky spin to it all is the mint and eucalyptus, meshed with like these green herb notes at the top. And it does persist longer than typical top note time. And to me, the effect is a lot like Wrigley's chewing gum. These minty notes are up way past their bedtime, those naughty notes. But as a result of this bad behavior, the fragrance isn't boring. I just wish the minty and bracing herbal bitterness didn't mask the fig that plays second fiddle here, because that fig has some really decent playing skills. Ultimately, I do think this is supposed to be a fig fragrance. There's nothing milky or too sweet about this fig, but it's fresh and fruity, dry, soapy fruit, and I want more of it. The overall feel of this scent is clean and uplifting, which is what you'd expect from the Italians. But man, it's a little weird. This one also has vintage appeal. I'm taken back to like a Florida vacationing hotel with my parents as a kid. My brother and I are running through the ground floor corridors of a mid-range hotel. It's lined with worn, striped carpeting and fresh laundry on carts, and we run by with excitement to get to the overly chlorinated pool. That's the corridor. Sniff before you buy. Next we have Mediterraneo, which is apparently the second most popular fragrance from the house, second to their classic Fiori di Capri, a floral scent that targets women and matches the mythology I spoke of at the start of the video. I've yet to get my nose on that one though. But Mediterraneo it's a unisex citrus aromatic fragrance that was launched in 2003, and the nose behind it is the same Laura Bossetti Tonato. In fact, all fragrances in the house are either from Laura or her fellow perfumer Luca Maffei. Well, actually, I think just 4 are from Luca, this attractive gentleman here. But anyway, here are the notes in this gem. And here are a couple of snippets from the Carthusia website. Dedicated to the cradle of all the great civilizations of Europe, Africa, and Asia, Mediterraneo is a sunny fragrance, original yet versatile, which blends the classic pristine freshness of lemon leaves with the youthful and sparkling tones of green tea. Later in the description, the copy says that the lemon and tea combines with white musk and cardamom to create a sun-filled and dynamic fragrance that evokes the magic of Capri Island. Yes, this is summer in a bottle. Pink lemonade, fresh and bright and clean, combined with that tea note, you can almost drink it. It's a very gentle lemon fragrance with a fantastically realistic sunny opening. As the citrus settles down, you get more of the tea, and the mintiness in it is just there as an accessory. It's just a dash to fix the brightness of this lovely fragrance and not to overpower it. To me, the florals are definitely in the background, playing supporting roles to the star, which is that lemon. So if you're a fan of citrus scents, you can't not enjoy this. Of course, there's only musk at the base, so this won't last hours and hours, but it's definitely not terrible. I would decant a big bottle of this so you can respray during the day, because it's not going to last a long time, but it's an easy blind buy to me. You'll wear it. Third in my Carthusia bundle is Via Camerelle, a citrus aromatic fragrance targeting women. This was launched in 2006. Via is Italian for street, and this scent was named after Capri's picturesque shopping street. And here are the notes. This fragrance is pitched as a memory, an emotion, a walk in the harmony of ray of sunshine through blue skies and freshly picked flowers. The freshness of lemon and bitter orange combined with hints of sea moss and cedarwood create a fragrance that celebrates the love for the sea, flowers, and life. Okay, so this is another citrus blend, but the citrus here compared to Mediterraneo only sparkles with half the wattage, and it's a greener citrus, but not to the point of being unpleasantly sour or bitter. It softens up after the green subsides, and you get some delicate herbs and amber notes, but very delicate. I also detect the jasmine, but it's very subtle. So guys, this fragrance lives way too close to the skin for me to fully enjoy. You'll have to respray 1 or 2 hours every 1 or 2 hours as well. It doesn't last long. I don't really understand why that is though, because Mediterraneo only has one base note fixing it, whereas this has like musk, amber, and cedar. Maybe it's just all close to the skin though. So if you don't want to stand out at all, pick this one. But honestly, I think you get your money's worth with a cheap freshie like 4711. This one is definitely unisex to me. I don't know why it's targeted as women, but I definitely prefer Mediterraneo. My last fragrance by Carthusia is 1681, an aromatic spicy fragrance aimed at the male market. It was launched in 2010 and it was named after the year in which monks began to make fragrances using local herbs and spices. The notes are The website describes this fragrance as one that's characterized by a strong essence of incense, typical of the old military and ecclesiastical circles that inspired the fragrance. A bouquet of scents of great charm and character, able to seduce and conquer. Yes, I dig it. Actually, this is probably my favorite of the four, even though I guess it does lean a wee bit masculine. Not that I care or that's important. There's just more overt complexity to this fragrance. And you saw the base notes, so you know that this one's going to last longer than the previous three, but perhaps that's not saying much. Purportedly, this fragrance reminds people of Dior Homme or Dior Homme Intense, but to be honest, although I've sniffed that frag, I can't for the life of me remember what it smells like. It's a widely available scent that may even be for sale downtown here in the sticks where I live, so I should check it out. The opening of this is typical of an elegant citrus cologne, but the citrus is very subdued. The herbs are more prominent to my nose. And the fragrance shifts into this like organic earthiness, and the composition is spicy, woody, dry, and yeah, it is very vintage in nature. There's rooty herbal notes in here that allow this to be warm in warmer months, I think, making it pretty versatile. The part that makes it unisex is the retro lipstick note. Again, not too powdery, but definitely makeup smelling to me. There's a waxy fog that permeates through the duration of this fragrance, and that's got to be the iris speaking, my friends. So with this one, I'm brought back to my childhood, sifting through my mom's makeup, more like in the 1970s, no, not in the 1680s. Actually, strangely, this also brings me back to my dad's sock drawers. Don't ask what I was doing as a child sifting through my dad's soft drawers, but I liked his socks. Weird. I do also appreciate that there's a tinge of frankincense that bubbles up gently here at times. It's a very distinguished and classy release from Carthusia. Good, especially the early middle notes. What would make this fragrance better is a more interesting tail end, which kind of leaves me wanting after a while. So how would I rank these four? Well, obviously I'll go with this one, 1681, as the top. I do think there's a sexiness to this one, and I would love to smell it on my man in addition to myself. There's something calm, comforting, and even familiar about it to me. I know I'm boring here, but I must confess that Mediterraneo is my second. It's a solid representation of the house. And no one's going to dislike this, although it's not really that unique, I have to say. But it's really fresh. Oh, it's delicious. It's really fresh, bright, and beautiful. It's an easy choice for anyone on a hot day. And next, EO Capri gets a score for originality. That chewing gum vibe is not unpleasant, but it's a bit weird for me, so I wouldn't reach for this every day, much as I adore fig. Last, we'll have to go with Via Camerelle. This one rates last for me, but that doesn't mean it's a bad fragrance. It's just not as exciting as the other ones. Not that the other ones are necessarily exciting, but it's just not overall exciting for me enough to wear. Yeah, and there's no performance in this, so I'm probably going to sell this one, to be honest. I mean, it's all right. And maybe in the summer I'll just spray it all the time. So are any of these fragrances worth buying at retail price? Well, none of them are projection monsters, and none of them will last the whole day. So in terms of performance, nah, they're not going to give you a bang for your buck. But they're all beautifully crafted and very elegant fragrances. Also, they aren't priced ridiculously in the first place. This is an affordable niche house, and they do have the power to transport you to the island of Capri, even if you've never been there. I've no doubt that Carthusia fragrances adorn the locals and tourists of this Italian vacay spot. So if you have been there, it's likely that the power would be all the more captivating and smile-inducing. Okay, so that is it for today, my lovelies. Don't forget to do that like and subscribe thing. Frag and Bag Hag and Scent Gourmand signing out. Bellissima, molto bene. Mwah.
Capri, voilà comment au milieu d'un beau rêve, un souvenir peut durer bien des jours, comme est caché dans une heure douce et brève toute l'éternité de l'amour.